everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Christine. I like to read dark and disturbing things, and today we're going to be talking about my June TBR. In case you're new here, I have never been great at sticking to a TBR. I love making them. I don't generally love sticking to them. I like to make a pile of possibilities to kind of choose from or choose to ignore, I guess. And I don't know. I'm trying to move away from a totally structured TBR. I try to limit myself to 4 picks per month, whether it's a book club that I'm going to be joining in on, or a buddy read, or what have you. So I figure sticking to 4 per month is totally doable and gives me room to mood read. I had my list all written out and I can't find it. So I tried to really quickly redo it, and I don't actually have 4 super solid books that I have chosen, which kind of is going to give me a lot more room to mood read, which, you know, it's June, it's summer. It's a time to be reading less serious stuff, I think, and just having a good time. But the ones that I have written down, I have 2 that I am for sure going to read. The first one is, if you've been following Kelsey from Slime and Slashers or myself, you know that we have been doing a Richard Lehman book every month. And it's not going great for me. She's having a better time than I am. But I think possibly when we chose the books we did, we picked a lot of ones that were on KU because we thought, okay, more accessibility for everybody to join in. People don't have to purchase books, and maybe they're not the best choices. I don't know. We'll see. The next one, though, that we're reading is The Woods Are Dark, which I thought I owned, but what I actually own is one called In the Dark. He has a lot of titles that are very similar, a lot of ones that have the word dark or tonight. So it is The Woods Are Dark, and we're reading, I think, the unedited version. So I believe I have that on my Kindle. And I don't have it here to even read the synopsis for you, and that's fine, because I notice half the time the synopsis doesn't really go into what the book is about. It's a little bit misleading, and I'm just been going into these blind. I will say I'm a little nervous because my buddy Cliff over at Cliff's Dark Gems, I believe this is the one he said he just tried to read and he either really disliked it or DNF'd it. I can't remember. But either way, it wasn't a good experience for him. But I know Cameron Chaney from Library Macabre did like this one. So we'll see. I know that my tastes are very similar to Cliff's on a lot of things. So I'm really hoping that this one isn't a total bummer, because I'm starting to give up hope on you, Lehman. I'm starting to give up hope. All right, that's enough talk about him. The next book I am going to read is part of Kitty over at Spicy Cat's book club. This is her non-Patreon book club. She has quite a few book clubs because she has some Patreon ones in different genres, and then she has one that's open to everybody. And this is the one that she is reading that is open to everybody. We have Billy Martin's Lost Souls. You will find it under the pen name Poppy Z. Bright. And I am definitely in on this because I read Exquisite Corpse last year and I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Although I do think that is the one that people say is his best work. So I'm going to be going into this cautiously. I really want to love it as much as I loved Exquisite Corpse, but I know that maybe I started with the best one. We'll see. Let's see what this is about. I don't really know. I think it's about vampires. So it does appear that it is about vampires, but it has a very similar setting, it seems like, to Exquisite Corpses. Takes place in New Orleans, and it takes place with people who are, well, they call them vagabonds in here. Exquisite Corpse featured a lot of people who ran away from home or were not welcome in their home any longer and living on the streets and not really fitting in with society. And it sounds like this is a very similar type of cast of characters as that, although it has nothing to do with the serial killerness, I guess, that book had. I am interested just because Billy Martin's writing is so beautiful and um, dark and disturbing at the same time. So I am very interested to read this along with Kitty from Spicy Cats Reads in her Discord book club. Okay, the next one that is a maybe. I don't want to fully commit to this, but this is a quarterly buddy read that Crystal from Fiber Artsy and Kelly from Kelly Hooked on Books have in their Discord. And it's back here. And that is Jane Eyre. I am like 99% sure I have read this before. I went through kind of a phase on my Kindle quite a few years ago where I didn't know what to read next. I didn't know about BookTube, and I never knew what to read next. And there was a bunch of classics that you could download on your Kindle for free. And I started working my way through a lot of those. And so I'm pretty sure I read this, but I get them mixed up in my mind. And this was my problem with reading on the Kindle a lot, is that you don't see the cover, you don't see the title while you're reading. And I would read it, but did I fully like know who the author was or the title all the time? I would forget. I ended up picking up this gorgeous Penguin edition. And look at this on the back. And it's got these, I forget what this is called, maybe beveled edges, something like that, that I really like. Kind of gives it like a, I think that it's just easier to grab the pages, but I think it kind of gives it like an old school feel. Ooh, look at, so these are the Penguin Classic Deluxe editions. So since I don't fully remember what happened, and I get this confused with some other classics, I want to try to read it. It doesn't feel like a very lighthearted summer read though. And of course I waited to the last month to start reading it. So we shall see. I remember it takes some time to kind of get into the feel of the writing with these classics. And once you're there, then I was able to understand a lot more as I was reading. So I'm not 100% committed, but if I can get to this, I would like to. And then for my last like pick, what I have been doing is spinning my wheel to see which of my 12 in 12 books that I'm going to get to. So this month I read, well, mostly read and then DNF'd Gideon the Ninth. If I was totally mood reading, I think the one that is kind of calling my name is Children of Chicago. But I'm going to spin the wheel because I have a wheel and I'm a child and spinning things is fun. But will I follow it? I don't know. I need to erase Gideon the Ninth off of here. We're going to spin this wheel and see what I end up getting. And I don't know if I'll follow it. We'll find out. Oh, okay. So I got question marks, which is anytime I read one, I was just erasing it and then filling in question marks. I'm going to say that that is just the universe telling me to go with my heart and read Children of Chicago. That's what I'm going to do. All right. The other books I have over here are books that I feel like putting in my pile to mood read. And when I think summer, I have like quite a few books here that I have been holding on to thinking, oh no, that's a summer book. I will read that when summer comes around. So whether it's going to be in June, July, or August, I don't know, but these are ones I hope to get to. So any underwater book, water, anything, water horror, I totally think of summertime. Not so much where I live now. Water's not such a huge thing where I live, but growing up in the Midwest, being able to go to pools was like life in the summer. Like that was the only way you could survive. So I have a stack of water books here that I'm going to show you. And I'm not going to go into the synopsis of each one because I would kind of like to go in blind, but we shall see. They're all, most of them are water horror. The first one is Kill River by Cameron Rubique. I have read from this author before. I read Disco Death Trap, which was like a roller rink slasher New Year's book. And I've had this one on my shelf waiting for me. They actually have a Kill River 2 as well. And I'll just read the last sentence on the back because this probably encapsulates the whole book. Kill River is a wild water park ride filled with blood, gore, and 80s nostalgia. Slasher fans rejoice, old school horror is back. That is exactly what I want from this. Kind of reminds me of Witch at the Water Park that I read last year. And it just sounds like a ridiculous, fun, bloody time with water. And that is exactly what I want in the summer. The next book I have is by an author I have read a few times and absolutely loved. She's a 5-star author for me. This is Silent Key from Laurel Hightower. This is by far the longest of the books that I've owned from her. This one is just under 300 pages. And I don't know anything about what it's about except this picture. So in the depths, some ghosts just won't die. I feel like it's going to be underwater, claustrophobic horror, but I don't know. I'm going in blind. I have loved this author and this is the perfect time to read that. Another one I've had on my shelf for quite some time is a Darcy Coates From Below. And I need to preface this by saying I have read quite a few Darcy Coates books and I'm not 100% sure she's the author for me. She can write the hell out of some truly horrifying scenes. And I always want more of that from her. But she kind of falls in this like what people call cozy horror, where you kind of know what you're going to get. You know, it's not going to be too traumatic. It's kind of like a beginner horror type thing. And I know she's capable of writing truly horrific things, but this is her sweet spot. I've heard that From Below is different in that it is much scarier, and I'm here for it. So I know that she can write some truly terrifying visuals, and I hope she brings it in this. So it looks like this is about a diving team going to explore an old ship that has sunk and is at the bottom of the ocean, but while they're down there, some horrific things start happening, and I find that truly disturbing. I find it claustrophobic and creepy, and I'm here for it. The next one I have is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I can't remember who, but somebody last year in the comments recommended this book to me. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I had asked if there were any other disturbing, like creepy, horrific mermaid stories out there, and I was told this was the one. This says that this was about a team who went off to film a mockumentary bringing to life some ancient sea creatures of legend. But while they were out there, they were lost at sea. Some people believe that this didn't even happen, that it was all a hoax, and some people think it was truly a tragedy. Now a new crew has been assembled. Some seek to validate their life's work, some seek the greatest hunt of all, some seek the truth. But for ambitious scientist Victoria Stewart, this is a voyage to uncover the fate of the sister she lost. This one's pretty chunky. It's over 400 pages. This one's also pretty chunky. This one's almost 500 pages. So I might have to split these up throughout the summer months. But I heard that I've heard quite a few people say that they really love this book. So I am excited to get to that. And lastly, out of my underwater horror, I have The Deep by Alma Katsu. So this is taking water horror, but also adding the Titanic in there. So this is like a retelling of the Titanic, but people having some very haunting things happen to them while they were on the ship. It says, brilliantly combining the supernatural with the height of historical disaster, The Deep is an exploration of love and destiny, desire and innocence, and above all, a quest to understand how our choices can lead us toward our doom. So there we are. And lastly, this is not a horror, but I had just unboxed this from a Caffeine and Legends box. And this is something to do with an underwater house. So I think this one's going to be a little bit more lighthearted. Okay, I better speak quickly because I see that I'm taking way too long. I have just a few more books. These are not underwater horror, but they are what I would consider probably going to be summer books. The first one I meant to read last summer and never got to it, and that is The Island by Adrienne McKinty. This has something to do with a family that goes on vacation and they end up on an island, and I think that it's very secluded and things go very, very wrong. So I would like to get to that. I also have Joe R. Lansdale, The Drive-In, as well as the sequel. I purchased these when I think it was in Nightworms. We got an anthology that was kind of in tribute to Joe R. Lansdale's The Drive-In. And I was like, well, how can I appreciate that until I've read it? And then somebody was selling both copies. And these look pretty short. And I hear that they are a really fun time, really silly, perfect for summertime. Oh, this one's got a dinosaur. Not just one of them sequels. And two more I have. This one I have been holding on to for a while. This is Jack Ketchum's Off Season. And I don't know why I picture, I guess because it looks like they're in a cave off of the water. I don't really know if it is a vacation-y book. All I know is it involves cannibals and that it is very disturbing. I have read one other Jack Ketchum book, which is The Girl Next Door. This was several years ago, and it's probably taken me that long to recover and want to try another Jack Ketchum book, just because the writing is great. It's just that it's too good, too real, too disturbing. And I've heard from other people that have read this that it's not for everybody. So we shall see. And last but not least, I have Dan Simmons' Summer of Night. This is another one that I've heard many people talk about great things, and it says summer. All I know is that this is a coming of age story, and I love coming of age stories. So it is a chunker. It's almost 500 pages with pretty small font. But you kind of need a coming of age story to be long, I think. I have never read anything by Dan Simmons, and I am excited to try. Okay, guys, that's a lot for not wanting a TBR, isn't it? But I don't really anticipate reading all of these in June. A lot of them are just things that I would like to get to throughout the summer. So I will probably sprinkle a few here or there. You know, you can't just read straight one, like all my underwater horror. I'm sure I'm going to need to break that up so that it can still have like an effect on me. Otherwise, you probably get tired of reading the same type of thing. But we shall see. If you have made it this far in the video and you want to say hi, but you don't have anything to say, feel free just to leave me an emoji. Leave me some kind of underwater emoji, whether it's a shark, a wave, an octopus, a squid, what have you, a fish. And let me know if you've read any of these. If there's any that you really recommend, that probably will bump it up on my list of things to get to. And you guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, hope everyone has a safe and spooky summer.